This video of Lil Wayne in the studio explaining his mindset behind making music. He had just done a song with Shakira and Beyonce, yet here he was in the studio, not celebrating in the club. He talks about other artists not getting started on their craft until they have a situation, a subject, a beat, a producer. He simply says,
"Man, what have you done? Go in the studio with fucking clips, ammo."
Don't sit around waiting for the situation to be perfect. Be prolific. For Lil Wayne, it doesn't matter what he's talking about. He just goes in there and creates. We get so hung up on what we want to make, how we can make it perfect, and worst of all, we think about what it can do for us. But as the Bhagavad Gita says, we need to let go of the outcome and just take action. Not for a reward, but to fulfill our karma yoga. We aren't here to receive the fruits of our action. The fruits may or may not come, but the act of doing what you're meant to do is the reward. Everything after that is a bonus. The third head of the Stoic school, Chrysippus, wrote 500 lines per day and left behind over 700 works. Juice WRLD died at the age of 21, but left behind over 2,000 songs for us to enjoy. Elon Musk just took over Twitter and is getting raked through the coals for implementing stupid ideas and then backtracking on them. But to me, this isn't stupid. This is the entire philosophy he's had his entire life. We just get to watch it play out in real time on the big stage. This is what taking action without hesitation looks like. Elon is a genius, but within genius, it produces a lot of trash as well. But we can't find the gold nuggets if we're not willing to dig in the trash a little bit first. They go hand in hand. The Bhagavad Gita explains this law of action in a similar way to Lil Wayne. Karma Yoga is the path of selfless, God-dedicated action. By making this your path, you can live a spiritual life and yet stay fully active in the world. You can remain a person of action, achieving your very best, and yet not be bound or caught by the worldly. This is the ideal. It's not going to be perfect, but it beats procrastinating. So take action now, be prolific, and don't worry about the outcome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Real English Radio, and I am your host, Tony Kaizen. And today we're talking about the law of action. We're talking about the importance of being prolific in whatever it is that you do. And if you don't know what that word means, it's totally fine. By the end of this episode, you'll understand not only the meaning of that word, but how it's relevant to you. And I should have started by saying good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you find yourself in the world at this moment in time. I've been quite rude in recent episodes, haven't I? Haven't been taking time to check in with y'all, see how you're doing. How's your mama and them? How's your sisters and your brothers and your cousins and your aunties and your girlfriends and the children? How are y'all doing, man? How is life treating you in 2025? Is it going good? I certainly hope so. I'm sitting here. It's exactly 9:43 in the morning. I'm on my second coffee. I already recorded this episode once and I wasn't satisfied with it. So got another coffee and we're going to do this shit again. I hope your morning is going better than mine. I shouldn't have said that. My morning's going great. I'm enjoying myself. Just talking shit. But yeah, I hope y'all are doing good, man. I'm sending much love and appreciation to each and every one of y'all still listening to the show, sending your boy love, all the Patreon subscribers and supporters and all this shit. Much love to y'all. Now, as I said, we're talking about the law of action. We're talking about being prolific. And before we get into this idea, as always, I'm going to go back to the beginning of that clip and explain a few things to make sure that you get the core idea and also learn a few things to spice up your English a little bit, my friend, so you're not talking so robotically all the fucking time, lad. You're not a fucking robot. You're a fucking human, aren't you? You're a human, innit? Right? So let's go back to the beginning of this clip. I'm going to explain a few things and we'll go from there. Let's do it, my friend.
This video of Lil Wayne in the studio explaining his mindset behind making music. He had just done a song with Shakira and Beyonce, yet here he was in the studio, not celebrating in the club. He talks about other artists not getting started on their craft until they have a situation, a subject, a beat, a producer.
Okay, so this guy narrating the video is talking about the law of action and being prolific and uses Lil Wayne as an example. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard of the rapper Lil Wayne. If you haven't, all you need to know is he's a legendary artist from the southern United States, New Orleans, Louisiana, to be exact. And so he says Lil Wayne had just finished doing a song with Shakira and Beyonce, these two pop star icons, mega stars, world famous. And you would think after achieving something like that, you might go out to celebrate. We're going to hit the club, we're going to drink, we're going to party, whatever. But Lil Wayne went straight back to the studio and started making more music. There was no time to celebrate. And in that video, apparently, Lil Wayne was talking about this, and he was saying that the mistake that a lot of artists make is waiting for the perfect situation, the perfect beat, the perfect subject or idea, the perfect producer. And only then do they start making music. And Lil Wayne's philosophy is, bro, you need to always be making music, like 24/7. You can't be waiting around for some perfect moment to start creating, because you'll never make anything. And so that's what we're about to hear. We're about to hear a clip from the video that this guy is referencing. So let me play that.
Getting started on their craft until they have a situation, a subject, a beat, a producer. He simply says,
Man, what have you done? Go in the studio with fucking clips, ammo.
don't sit around.
All right. So that was Lil Wayne talking. And again, he's from New Orleans, Louisiana. His accent is relatively thick. Do not stress yourself out if you had a hard time understanding what he just said, especially out of context. It was just a clip from a longer video. But what he said was, bro, what is you doing? Standard American English, we would say, what are you doing? But the meaning is the same. So he says, what is you doing? Like, you need to go into the studio with clips, with ammo. Now, the word ammo is short for ammunition. And ammunition, we're talking about like bullets. The projectiles you fire from a gun, that's ammunition, right? And the clip is referring to, it's another word for magazine. So it's the metal, it's the piece of metal in which you insert the bullets, and then you take that piece of metal, which is the clip or the magazine, you insert it into the gun, you load the gun, and then you can fire the bullets. You understand? So when he's speaking figuratively when he says you need to go into the studio with ammo, with clips, multiple clips full of ammo or ammunition. Now, ammunition in this case, he's talking about lyrics, lines, bars, things to say. You see what I'm saying? You need to always be prepared. No matter what's going on, you need to go into the studio with tons of ideas or tons of songs you've already written. So that way, no matter what beat gets put on, you have some shit to put on that beat. You're not waiting around for the perfect moment or inspiration to strike. No, you're always working on your craft all the time. Because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You guys say that in your language? It's something that we say. We say if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, but it's all the same. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. It's the same shit. You get the idea, right? If you're always prepared, then you don't need to get prepared. So whenever the opportunity presents itself, you are ready. You walking around with pockets full of clips. You got ammo, ready for war. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? That's the metaphor here, all right? Let me go back a few seconds and we'll keep going.
A beat, a producer. He simply says,
Man, what have you done? Go in the studio with fucking clips, ammo.
don't sit around waiting for the situation to be perfect. Be prolific.
All right, don't sit around waiting for the situation to be perfect. Be prolific. Now, the phrasal verb to sit around basically means to be inactive or passive or idle, just not really doing anything in particular. You're probably waiting for something to happen. So don't sit around waiting for the perfect moment to take action. Just take action. And then he says, be prolific. Now, the word prolific, it describes a high level of creative output. And it could be anything that you create. I would say it's really anything you do, you can be prolific at. So like if a artist, let's say a painter, is prolific, it's because he's constantly producing new works of art, new paintings. If Lil Wayne is prolific, he's not putting out 2 songs a year. He's putting out 200 songs a year. He is producing a high volume of music, a very large quantity, very frequently and very consistently. A prolific, like Cristiano Ronaldo is a prolific goal scorer, because year after year after year after year, he scores 20, 30, 40, 50 goals every season. Every year, he's scoring tons of goals. He is a prolific goal scorer. You see what I'm saying? So whatever it is that you do, if you do it very frequently and you produce high volume or a large quantity of that thing, you are prolific. And again, it's anything that you do. And I'm gonna make all of this relevant to you in just a minute. You'll see why that word is so important and how you can apply it to the goal that you set for yourself, which is learning English. And you might have already made the connection in your mind, but for those of y'all that haven't, I'm gonna take all of you there anyway. All right, my friends. So let me go back a few seconds. Where did we stop? Right, be prolific. All right, here we go.
Clips, ammo.
Don't sit around waiting for the situation to be perfect. Be prolific. For Lil Wayne, it doesn't matter what he's talking about. He just goes in there and creates. We get so hung up on what we want to make, how we can make it perfect, and worst of all, we think about what it can do for us. But as the Bhagavad Gita said,
all right, so he says we get so hung up on what we want to make, how we can make it perfect, and worst of all, we think about what it can do for us. Now, he's talking about creative work, probably musicians or videographers or photographers or whatever. But again, you can apply this to anything in life. And so to be hung up on something basically means to be mentally or emotionally fixated on something. And whatever that thing is, it's stopping you from moving forward or making progress. So imagine like if I grabbed you by the shirt and I lifted you off the ground. I'm holding you. Your shirt is in my hand. You are in your shirt and I'm holding you up off the ground. And then I take that shirt and I hang it on a hook. So now you are literally hung up on the wall or this hook or whatever, and you can't go anywhere. You're stuck. So think about that figuratively. Something has you mentally stuck, like you're hung up on the wall and you can't go forward, backward, up, down. You can't go anywhere. You're just stuck because you're hung up on this particular thing. But again, it's a figurative way of thinking or speaking. You see what I'm saying? So you're hung up on the details. You're hung up on the idea of being perfect. You're hung up on what this person said or what this person did or this challenge or that challenge. So sometimes we get hung up on the idea that things have to be perfect, and that stops us from doing anything at all. That's the idea here.
we need to let go of the outcome and just take action, not for a reward, but to fulfill our karma yoga. We aren't here to receive the fruits of our action. The fruits may or may not come, but the act of doing what you're meant to do is the reward. Everything after that is a bonus. The third head of the Stoic school, Chrysippus, wrote 500 lines per day and left behind over 700 works. Juice WRLD died at the age of 21, but left behind over 2,000 songs for us to enjoy.
All right, so he's using other people as examples. Apparently the third head of the Stoic school, Chrysippus, wrote 500 lines per day and left behind 700 works. Now, when he says 500 lines, he means lines of text, because he was a writer, so he would write at least 500 lines every single day and left behind 700 works. Now, when we say left behind, it means that he died, but his work remained here with us. So he left it behind figuratively. And 700 works, typically the word works in this case is referring to like a work of art. I most often hear it used in reference to literature, but I suppose it could be paintings or songs or whatever, but it's usually some kind of creative work, like a work of art. Anyway, he also references Juice WRLD, who died at the age of 21, but left behind over 2,000 songs for his fans to enjoy. And so, again, he's trying to drive home the importance of being prolific. These people didn't sit around waiting for the perfect moment or try to create the perfect song. They were just creating songs. They were just creating books or paintings or whatever it was.
Elon Musk just took over Twitter and is getting raked through the coals for implementing stupid ideas and then backtracking on them. But to me, this isn't stupid. This is the entire philosophy he's had his entire life.
All right, so the final example that he uses is Elon Musk. He said he just took over Twitter, or he just assumed control of the company that was Twitter, and he's getting raked through the coals for implementing stupid ideas. Now, this expression, to get raked through the coals, literally, you can imagine, I don't know if you've ever seen those, like, what would you call them? Confidence building seminars where you have to like conquer your fears and find the lion within you and all that bullshit. And you might see somebody take off their shoes and socks and literally walk across a bed of hot coals, burning hot coals, but they walk across it and they don't burn their feet and they conquer their fear. Have you guys seen that shit? I've only seen it like on TV. I don't even know, where do you sign up to do some shit like that? Anyway, imagine that, but somebody's literally dragging you across those hot coals. Imagine what that would feel like. And maybe you don't know what hot coals are, so I'll just use the example of just a pit of fire. Just imagine an open fire, and I drag you through that fire. Imagine what that would feel like. So that's what you can think about literally. But when somebody says getting raked through the coals, it's typically, or what it actually means when we say it, is getting very harshly or severely criticized, typically in public, like a CEO or a president, a politician, or some public figure will be harshly criticized in the media, on the news or radio, podcasts, social media, whatever, and everybody's just talking shit about this person and criticizing them and judging them and all this shit. They are getting figuratively raked through hot coals, just getting burned up and destroyed by all this public criticism. Does that make sense? So he's saying Elon is getting raked through hot coals, harshly criticized because he's implementing stupid ideas and then backtracking on them. So that's the other word I want to explain, to backtrack on something. It basically just means to change your mind, but you can think about it as if making a decision means to take a step forward. And then after you take that step, you decide, nah, that was a bad step. That was the wrong decision. So then you step backward. You see what I'm saying? You backtrack. You stay on the same track, you just move backward. And then you have to make a new decision, go in a different direction. Does that make any sense? It's just another way of saying, like, I made this decision, I made this change, and then I see it's not working, or I feel like it was a bad decision. I say, no, you know what? We're not going to do that. I know we said we were going to, or I know I just implemented this thing, but take it all out and let's go back to where we were and make a new decision. You'll probably hear this a lot. Well, not a lot, but you'll probably hear this in the context of work or business, professional settings and stuff like that. If you work in an office, maybe for a marketing company, an insurance company or whatever, where you guys are having meetings, you might from time to time hear somebody say something like, oh, we have to backtrack on that decision, or if we backtrack on this person's not the client may not like it, or whatever the fuck, I don't know. But what I'm saying is you can use that word, or it's most often heard in that kind of context, in professional settings, business decisions, negotiations, that type of stuff. I'm not using that word with my friends at the bar on a Friday night. You know what I mean? I hope that makes some kind of sense. It's really not even the point. I just wanted to explain the fucking word. So let's keep going here.
Musk just took over Twitter and is getting raked through the coals for implementing stupid ideas and then backtracking on them. But to me, this isn't stupid. This is the entire philosophy he's had his entire life. We just get to watch it play out in real time on the big stage.
All right, so this isn't, to the guy narrating the video, this isn't stupid. This is just Elon's life philosophy. Make bold decisions, and if they're wrong, well, then I can backtrack and make a different decision. That's just the way he lives his life. And we just get to watch it play out in real time on the big stage. Now, to watch something play out basically means to watch a situation unfold. To watch something happen over time. You watch how a situation develops over time. I hope that makes sense. It's just another way of saying what I just said. When you use the phrasal verb to play out in this context, only in this context, to watch something play out basically means to watch the situation unfold or develop over time. So this is how Elon lives his life, and we just get to watch it play out. We get to watch his decisions and the way he manages his companies. We get to watch that play out in real time. We're observing it all on social media, on the big stage, which is actually what he said. And so when you hear somebody say the big stage, it's just a figurative way of speaking about the stage that is life, but more specifically like the public eye. Because if you go to a concert, the performer typically is standing up on a stage and everyone else is watching the performance. So when somebody says the big stage in a context like this, Elon Musk is obviously not a singer or a rock star or anything like that. He doesn't make music and perform. But the big stage is talking figuratively like, just imagine a big arena where somebody's going to perform and everyone, like a football stadium, there's 22 players on the field, And the field is the big stage. Everyone else, 70,000 spectators watching the game play out. They're watching how the game plays out. You see what I'm saying? But think about that with any public figure. If you're a public figure, like, you're always on the big stage because anything you do out in public, everyone's watching and commenting on and recording videos and putting it on the internet. So if he's doing something on the big stage, it just means in the public eye for everyone to observe and judge or praise or critique or whatever. You see what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. All right, let's finish out this video.
This is what taking action without hesitation looks like. Elon is a genius, but within genius, it produces a lot of trash as well. But we can't find the gold nuggets if we're not willing to dig in the trash a little bit first. They go hand in hand. The Bhagavad Gita explains this law of action in a similar way to Lil Wayne. Karma Yoga is the path of selfless, God-dedicated action. By making this your path, you can live a spiritual life and yet stay fully active in the world. You can remain a person of action, achieving your very best, and yet not be bound or caught by the worldly. This is the ideal. It's not going to be perfect, but it beats procrastinating. So take action now. Be prolific, and don't worry about the outcome.
All right, now the last thing I'll explain is he said, this is the ideal. It's not going to be perfect, but it beats procrastinating. Now, when you hear the word beat in this context, there's two general ideas, right? Like beat physically, you beat someone, or you're in a competition. I beat you in basketball. I beat you in soccer. I beat you in whatever. So it's more the second idea when we use it this way, but it's not like it's an actual competition. So when I say taking action, even though it's not perfect, is better than procrastinating, it's the same thing as saying taking action, even though it's not perfect, beats procrastinating. Like if the two actions or decisions or choices were put into a competition, one would beat the other. One would be better and one would be worse. So imagine like we're at the house and there's no food in the house and we only have a couple of dollars to go get some food. And I say, I'm going to walk to the McDonald's and get a double cheeseburger. And you say, McDonald's, you're going to eat that trash? You're going to eat fucking McDonald's, bro? And I say, well, it beats sitting here hungry. It beats starving. That's not the best example, but it is an accurate one. It demonstrates what I'm saying. So when I say going to McDonald's beats sitting here hungry, I'm saying going to McDonald's is better than just sitting here hungry. So taking action, although it may not be perfect, beats procrastinating every time. One is clearly better than the other. That's the point. All right, now I'm going to leave timestamps in the description of this episode. I'm not going to play the whole thing again. It's like a 2-minute clip, but you can just go back to the beginning and listen to that again if you'd like. Also, you can subscribe on Patreon and get access to the transcript and the vocabulary guide if you really want to learn more effectively with this episode. But now I'll just recap the main ideas from the clip because it was relatively long. So the first one is the importance of being prolific. It's much better to be prolific than it is to try and be perfect because you'll never be perfect, but you can be prolific. And just as a reminder, being prolific describes producing high volumes or quantities of whatever it is you produce, whether that's you're a chef and you create delicious meals for people, or you're a footballer and you score tons of goals, or you're a rapper and you create tons of songs. Whatever it is that you create or you do, whatever you dedicated yourself to, you can be prolific by doing it frequently, consistently, and at very high levels, producing high volumes of that thing. And that's always going to beat procrastination and obsessing over the idea that you're going to be perfect. Another key takeaway is the idea that you need to let go of the outcome. Stop obsessing over the results and instead focus on the process. Everything I'm saying or about to say is going to sound cliche because you intuitively know these things to be true already. Like you know what you should and should not do. It's just easy to forget because it's so simple, isn't it? Like, you know you shouldn't obsess over the outcome because you can't really control the outcome. All you can control is what you put into something, not what comes out of it. And so I think that's really one that stops a lot of us from doing a lot of things, right? Is we obsess over the end result that we're looking for to such a degree that we forget to focus on what we're doing right now, even though losing focus of what we're doing right now almost guarantees we won't get the result that we want. So there's a bit of irony there when it comes to obsessing over the end result as opposed to the present moment. Another important thing to take away from this video is the importance of taking risks publicly. And it doesn't even have to be on the big stage, like in an arena with 20,000 people or on a movie screen or anything like that. Not like you have to be a famous celebrity and do it in front of millions. It just means in public, whatever that means, at the fucking grocery store, at a party, like where other people can see you, where other people can see you trying to do whatever it is you're doing. That's what it means. Because that's another thing that stops a lot of us, bro, is the fear of judgment, criticism, ridicule, humiliation. What is she going to think? What are they going to think? What is he going to think? What are they going to say about me? Are they laughing at me? Damn, I look so fucking stupid. Or I told everyone I was going to do X, but now I think I want to do Y. But I can't do Y because I told everybody I was going to do X. Putting so much power in the hands of people that most likely don't even give a fuck about you. They're not thinking about you. And at the end of the day, don't have to live your life, bro. If you decide or tell everybody I'm going to do X, and next month you think about it more deeply and you decide that would be a terrible idea, and now you want to do Y, then fucking do Y. It's your life, bro. And that's just one example, even if it's like not just the idea of backtracking and making a different decision, just making decisions publicly. Whether it's practicing English, getting better at talking to girls, whether you're starting a business and you need customers, so you're knocking on people's doors asking for business, or whatever it is, bro. Whatever it is. I did an episode about that in the past. Like, so many of us are afraid to be seen just trying, because oftentimes if we're trying to do something, it's because we don't know exactly how to do it yet. And therefore we're going to look pretty silly as we try to do that thing. We don't really look silly doing things we know how to do. And we don't really try to do things we know how to do because we know how to do them, right? It's all about the fear of being seen trying. And the last takeaway from that video is that you're remembered for what you do, not so much what you say you're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell everybody, I'm going to be the best footballer in the world. I'm going to be the best musician. I'm going to be the best actor or carpenter or plumber or pilot, whatever it is, whatever the fuck it is. And that's fine, but if you don't prove that through your actions, then it doesn't really mean anything. Like, Ronaldo will be remembered for each and every one of his 900 plus goals, not just one. If he would have scored one goal and retired, nobody would remember him. We're going to remember him because he was, or still is, a prolific goal scorer. All the things that he's done so consistently over such a long period of time, such a high volume of goals and contributions to a game. That's what we're going to remember him for. Not the interviews or the autographs or the photo shoots or all that bullshit, but what he did on the pitch. His artistry on the pitch. Same thing with Messi or Zidane or Ronaldinho or whoever it is. Whoever it is. Same thing with musicians. Juice WRLD will be remembered for the 2,000 songs he left behind and everything he put into his craft. Not him talking about how great of a musician he was. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Or him telling everybody, I'm gonna make music. Nobody gives a shit. We give a shit now because he left behind 2,000 songs. Some people will never record that many songs over a 30-year career. You understand what I'm saying? He died at 21. And so it's all about what you do, bro. The only thing that matters is action. And if you're constantly hesitating, waiting for the perfect moment, it means you're never taking action. And you'll be remembered for what you don't do just as much as what you do. You'll be remembered as the motherfucker who never did anything or said he was going to do X, Y, and Z and never really did it. Now, maybe your legacy isn't important to you, but what about a little bit of fucking self-respect? Fuck what everybody else thinks. What do you want to remember about your life? And what you've done? You know what I'm saying? I don't have the answer to that question. I'm just asking you to think about it. And now at this point, to make this relevant to you, somebody who's dedicated themselves to learning to speak English proficiently as a foreign language, that's the goal that you have for yourself, or that you set for yourself, isn't it? And it's all the same points. Like all of this, I think, is universal. Starting with the idea that you shouldn't wait to be perfect. You should just start speaking, bro. You should just start speaking. The same way Lil Wayne was saying, don't wait for the perfect beat. Don't wait for the perfect producer or idea. You shouldn't wait for the perfect time to start talking to somebody. Because we've all done that, bro. Every language learner has gotten in their heads and saying, no, I don't want to bother them, or I don't know what to say, or I'm too shy. I got to wait till I feel confident. I got to study more. We make a million excuses on why we can't just approach that person and start talking to them. Even online, where the pain of rejection is nowhere near as strong as it is face to face. Even online, we make excuses on why we can't reach out to somebody. We're so afraid of making mistakes or saying something that makes absolutely no sense or whatever, and we just don't do anything. When the reality is, the same way that greatness comes from the volume and consistency of production, so does fluency. Ronaldo wasn't great, or isn't. Keep speaking in the past like he's dead or something. Ronaldo isn't great because he scored one goal. He's great because he scored over 900 of them and continues to do so. That's what makes him great, is his dedication to his craft. And he keeps producing and keeps producing. He just keeps playing football. He just keeps doing it. Same thing with Lil Wayne. He's not great because of one piece of art that he produced, but because over literally 30 years now, he's been producing art. That's what makes him great. It's the body of work that he's produced over such a long period of time, the level of dedication. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with trying to be proficient in a foreign language, bro. It's just you have to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. You understand? It's not like there's just going to be this one moment where you say the perfect fucking sentence and then you never have to speak again. That's absurd. That's absurd. Even in your native language, you say dumb shit all the time. All of us do it. All of us do it. So you just have to keep talking and keep talking, because that's the only way you get better at talking, bro. Even in your native language. Just because you know how to speak that language doesn't mean you speak it well. You may speak it correctly in terms of grammar. You may use nouns and adjectives and prepositions properly. It doesn't make you a good speaker, a good communicator. So you have to practice. You just talk more. You get feedback on the way you talk. You have friends that will critique you, and you talk to different kinds of people, different personalities from different walks of life. And you practice talking to all these different kinds of people, and that's how you get better. So it's the same thing with language. I say it all the time. Language and communication skills, culture, they go hand in hand, bro. They're all connected. And you're not going to get better at any of that shit if you're waiting around for the perfect conditions to try. You're going to fuck up. You're going to sound stupid. It is what it is, bro. It just is what it is. Like, what do you want me to tell you? You know what I'm saying? It's about letting go of the obsession with the outcome, bro. That's what it is oftentimes. We're so obsessed and so worried about making mistakes. What if I sound awkward? What if I don't impress them? What if I try to tell a joke and she doesn't laugh? What if I say something that doesn't make sense, or it's so grammatically fucked up and people look at me like I have 3 eyes or some shit? They look at me like I'm crazy. But none of that matters, bro. It's going to happen, first of all. You might as well get over that. But it's not even about the result. It's just about trying, bro. It's the only thing that you should be focused on is actually approaching that person and saying something. You've already won. You've already won. The fact that you're even trying means that you've beat 70% of people on earth, whether it's in language or life, because most people will never fucking try, bro. They don't have the balls. So just by trying, you're already winning. And you feel like a loser, but you don't understand you're already a winner. So just fucking try. And accept the fact, embrace the fact with open arms, embrace the fact you're gonna suck in the beginning. And even with years of experience, there will be times when you suck. Even Ronaldo has a bad day. Even Messi has a bad day, bro. You understand what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. It's the way it is. So when you focus on what you're putting into the moment as opposed to what you're going to get out of it, you increase the chance that you get something good out of it. You can't have a good conversation if you're focused on the end goal. Like, I'm going to say this and she's going to say that and then she's going to laugh or whatever, thinking about it like it's math. You can't think about shit like that. I don't recommend you think about shit like that. Let me say it that way. It really does, bro. It just comes down to practice no matter what you're doing. Cooking, dancing, playing football, programming, fucking exercising, whatever, bro. It's just practice. That's why the idea of the episode and the idea of that video, it wasn't about be the best. He never said that in the video. He never said be the best. He said be prolific. It's two totally different things. Being the best or the worst is a question of opinion. Being prolific is a question of fact. That's something you can control. No matter what anybody thinks about you, you can control how often and how much you practice. And if we're talking about English, you can control that. And my sister recently started learning Spanish, and I'm so fucking proud of her for that shit, bro. Like, cause she was talking about it for many, many years, and finally, for whatever reason, the past 3 or 4 months, she's been taking it seriously and studying every day. And when I call her, she'll try to start the conversation in Spanish. I talk to her in Spanish, and she tries to talk back and shit. She sends me her like the YouTube channels and shit that she's studying with and all that. It's super dope, bro. And so one day we were talking about like how I learned Spanish and what I recommend she does, or what I recommend that she do to learn more effectively. And I'm telling you all the same shit I told her, bro. It's like you find the good resources that work for you and you practice every single motherfucking day, bro. And then you find people to talk to and you get out of your comfort zone and you accept the fact you're going to sound like a child. And people may laugh at you. They may not want to talk to you. They may this and that. You can imagine a million negative things that could happen, but a bunch of positive shit happens too. Just because you're trying. Like I remember when I started learning Spanish over 10 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. I was living in San Diego, California, and I don't know where I got the idea, but I just got the idea to start walking the streets and talking to people. I mean, there's Mexicans everywhere, bro. It's fucking San Diego. So I would go to like the gas station, and if I see that the lady working there is Mexican and I hear her speaking Spanish to somebody, I'm not going to ask her to put $20 on Pump 6 in English. I'm going to do it in Spanish, or I'm going to try. And you know what happened when I did that was she said, hey, we don't say it that way. We say it this way. She fucking corrected me, and then I learned the correct way to say it. A different day, I went in there and said something to that same lady, and the lady behind me, old lady, she must have been like 75 years old, behind me, tapped me on the shoulder. She said, hey, we don't say it this way. You should say this. And also, I think it's awesome that you're learning Spanish. That's what's up. She didn't say that's what's up, but she said that's cool or whatever the fuck she said. It was something like that. But you get my point. Is oftentimes we imagine all the negative things that could happen. But bro, just by trying and putting yourself out there, just as many positive things can happen too. Especially when we're talking about learning to speak a language, learning how to talk to and communicate with other people. So many good things can happen. If you just get out of your head, you stop procrastinating, you get over yourself and just fucking try. It's like bro said in the video, like, you can't find the golden nuggets if you're not willing to dig through the trash. That's a very important idea to consider because it applies to every aspect of life. Like if you think about this podcast, for example, I would be lying to you if I said that I put out everything that I record. I just don't. If you could hear half the shit that I've recorded but never released because it was fucking trash, you would hate this podcast, bro. Even the shit I have released, a lot of the episodes, I mean, I liked them when I recorded them, but I go back and listen to them. What is this, episode 154 or something like that in terms of public episodes? Or like a small number of them, I'm like, yeah, this shit is actually great. I could listen to this myself again and again. A lot of the episodes, I'm like, it's whatever. They're not terrible, but they're not good either. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys have your favorite episodes. And that's just what it is. But neither of us would be able to find the episodes that we enjoy the most if I never produced any of them. Or I only waited until I felt that one was perfect to release them. No, I recorded and I fucking put it out. Or just like this morning, I record one, I listen to it, I'm like, nah, that's not good enough. Put that in the trash and do it again. It's not about the result. I just keep practicing and practicing and practicing. Some days I do good. I was trying to say great and good at the same time. I'm making a bad habit of trying to say two words at the same time, bro. What the fuck? Some days I do good. Some days I don't do good. It just is what it is. Not every episode is going to be perfect or the most interesting or the funniest, but who cares, bro? It's the act of producing the episodes that's important. Just that I keep showing up to record more episodes. It's all that matters. And over time, over years, over the course of years, with any luck, I'll notice some kind of improvement. For those of you that have been listening since the beginning, hopefully you'll be able to say, damn, he's getting better at this. Like, I remember when the episodes were like this, and now they're 2, 5, 10 times better. It's dope to see the progression of this prolific podcaster, somebody who stuck with it. Speaking of prolific podcasters, think about Luke Thompson, the creator of Luke's English podcast. If you haven't heard it, go check it out, bro. If you're interested in British English, go check it out. You can find it Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever. Go check that podcast out. Just public episodes alone, he has like 900 and something episodes. 900 podcast episodes. 900, bro. That is the definition of prolific, bro. Luke Thompson is the definition of prolific podcaster. I mean, he just keeps showing up week after week after week after week for years and years and years and years and years. And I'm sure, after talking to him just once, I'm sure he has no plans on stopping anytime soon. He's dedicated himself to this, and he's just going to keep doing it. That's just what it is. So in the context of learning language in reference to you, what you have to do is just keep talking, just keep having conversations, just keep showing up. That's just what it is. And the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more interested you become in it. So you start doing research about communication skills or certain grammar things that are still giving you trouble or whatever it may be. The more deeply you get involved in it, the more you want to learn about it. And the more you learn about it, the better you get at doing it. And the better you get at doing it, you gain more confidence, you enjoy it more. And it just creates this positive feedback loop, bro. And you accept the fact that not every conversation is going to be life-changing or super entertaining. Sometimes you're going to meet some assholes. Sometimes you're an asshole. Sometimes you say things that make sense. Sometimes you don't. It is what it is, bro. But your practice is the only thing you can control. So I'm calling you to be prolific with your practice. Fuck the outcome. Fuck the results. Fuck what people think. The only thing you can control is how often you practice and what you put into that practice. I'm calling you to be prolific in that sense. Talk every day. Write every day. Every single day. Even if it's something as simple as narrating your life. Treat your life like a fucking Netflix documentary. You're Stephen Attenborough or whatever the fuck his name is, and you're just narrating your life. I'm standing up. I'm sitting down. I'm putting on black socks on the right foot and the left foot. I'm now putting on my pants. I'm going down the stairs. The stairs have carpet on them. The floor is made of tile. The tile is white. I'm opening the fridge. I'm grabbing a bottle of water or whatever the fuck. She is looking at me. I think she's pretty. She has a nice complexion, whatever the fuck, bro. Just start narrating your life. You see, you observe, and you comment, even if it's just in your head, because you're training yourself to think in English. And when you do that prolifically, thinking in English becomes effortless. It's effortless. So we can make a million excuses on why we can't practice or why we can't talk to somebody or why we can't make a conversation, bro. We can make a million excuses and wait for the right moment, but how much progress are we going to experience if we choose to do that? It's just not rocket science, bro. Progress comes from practice, consistent practice. It's just that simple, bro. So the bottom line is, if you want to learn to speak English better, become a better communicator in any language, bro, you have to take risks. You have to be consistent. and take action. Even if you are afraid, even if you are nervous or anxious, bro, like, do it anyway. I know it's easy for me to say, but you gotta do it anyway, bro. It's okay to be nervous or anxious when talking to that person. This is just whatever, bro. If you keep doing it, you won't feel nervous or anxious anymore. The same way you don't feel nervous or anxious cooking dinner or brushing your teeth or walking across the street, because you do it every goddamn day. So if you talk to people every goddamn day, you're going to get better at it and feel comfortable doing it, bro. It really is that simple. So again, I'm calling you to be prolific with your practice. The rest will come with time, bro, but none of it will come if you don't practice consistently. So get out of your head and get out there and practice, man, because I know you can do it.